this one. I know the storm is harsh on mankind, but I will never ever lose my faith. Shaking my feet till fall to the ground, but I will never ever lose my faith. Tornado whirling, raining and thundering, but I will never ever lose my faith. Tribulation slammed, but I will never ever lose my faith. Temptations, them a roll like a dice, but I will never ever lose my faith. Therefore I know deep down in my heart, and I say I will never ever lose my faith. I won't lose my faith. I won't lose my faith. No matter what comes my way. No matter what comes my way. Yeah, I have said that these will come, but I will never ever lose my faith. All my hope is in you, Yahweh. Please come to my aid. But I will never ever lose my faith. Hated because I never join anything fraud, but I will never ever lose my faith. Standing my ground against the lies that flies around, but I will never ever lose my faith. Hated by Pharisees for calling out their sins, but I will never ever lose my faith. Standing strong against the traditions of men, but I will never ever lose my faith. I face the storms in the world and in my home, but I will never ever lose my faith. Babies are blessings, but I lost 2 different chances, but I will never ever lose my faith. I know that Yah can see my pain, and He knows that I will wait. I can never ever lose my faith. Abanawa, Shabba Shamayam. Yeah. We have chose you amongst all things on earth. The enemies triumph over us. We call on your Ruka Kodesh to come to our aid, so can always trust in you. His love is fire, burning with great joy. He leads the humble through darkest night. His commandments shine like stars inside. Yahweh is great, and your love is divine. Ruling all flesh with your power forever. Your commandments are sure, and your love is what we have. We bow our crowns to you. We say Todaya. With mighty power, he lifts the low. His love is justice where we all go. He hears the cry of the broken heart, mending lives, brand new from the start. He's the Alpha Omega, the way his commandments lead us. Come what may, through trials and tests, he's by our side, guiding us forward with love as our guide. Yahweh is great, and your love is divine. Ruling all flesh with your power forever. Your commandments are sure, and your love is what we have. We bow our crowns to you. We say Toda Yahweh. Let everything breathe Yahweh's praise. He's worthy in every way. Love, command, judgment true. Yahweh, hallelujah, you are great. Yahweh is great. We proclaim love divine, forever the same. Hallelujah, let it rise. Yahweh's greatness touch the skies. Yahweh is great. We proclaim Yahweh divine, forever the same. Yahweh's greatness, let it be known from captivity to Zion. We going back home. Ahapwa Kazan, Mahapwa Rameh. Yahweh is great. We proclaim love divine, forever the same. Hallelujah, let it rise. Yahweh's greatness touch the skies, forever reigns. Our King supreme, Ahapwa Kazan, Malakwa Rameh. Yahweh is great. Oh, yeah, please help us all. It's fiercing lion on this one. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. are down on our knees. Help us. The trials are tough. Please lead us with a broken heart. Please help us. The trials are tough. Please help us. The journey is rough. Please save us. Our power has failed. Redeem us. We call on your name. Don't forsake us. The hatred is much. Kumbaya. Yeah. The suffering is much. Kumbaya. The storm is so great. Don't leave us. Please hold our hands and say, yeah, help us. We are down. The trials are tough. Please lead us through with a broken heart. Please help us. We give our all to you, Alua. We're groaning in pain. Please hear us. Our ruach is weak. Strengthen us. Delusion is much. Please lead us. Barak our women with children. Make our hearts love as brethren. United as one, no hatred. Our souls getting tired, we all pray. Help us, oh Lord. We are down on our knees. Help us, oh. The trials are tough. Please lead us, oh, with a broken heart. Please help us, Yahweh. Help us. We are down on our knees. Help us. The trials are tough. Please lead us, oh, with a broken heart. Please help us. Back in the day, struggling, fired up. Got no house, got no bed, just a lion. Life looks so slim, that I always fall and trip off. Movement crawling like a python. Now I hear them say, what make my life goes on is because I'm a chosen nation. Change my life today. You wipe my tears and my yokes off. Wear me blessing like a clothes on your how is my life. Don't give up, put your faith on. There's a reason why it's the reason why we stay strong. Yeah, is my shield and fortress. from where I came from. Is the comfort of distress. Wipe my sins and they all gone. I say, yo, yeah, not man. I'll forever praise you till I pass on. And they say this world is so small, cause your hours the word is the enemy. Wait, never forget where you from. Cast your hope up on your hour. Let your kingdom come. He has purged me of my wrongs. I lift me eyes to your throne. Zion calling me to come back home. Cause your hours the word is the enemy. Yeah, enemy. Yeah, enemy. Is the enemy. Yeah, the life of man are staging. Segments as a leader, you are listening but no comment. Your sins I show your punishment. Yeah. You are tell them say no lament. Mercy prevails over judgment. If man a help to your destination, sometimes it looks like an illusion. Please no act like say you know, because your wisdom might be delusion. Be a listener, to yield to his word, to be strong, and your end will be a big one. So I say, never forget where you from, cast your hope upon your hour. Never forget where you from, cast your hope upon your hour. Let your kingdom come. He has purged me of my wrongs. I lift my eyes to your throne. Zion calling me to come back home, cause your hour's word is the enemy. I realize that everyone I got them life to live. Me too, I got mine to live. Never ever criticize yourself, me brother, else you break your spirit all day. Saying to yourself, say me a slow or no make sense. Change it to say me fast, smart and make sense. There is power in your tongue, use it wisely. Proclaim positive things on a daily. Wait, never forget where you from. Cast your hope upon your hour. Let your kingdom come. He has purged me of my wrongs. I lift me eyes to your throne. Zion calling me to come back home, cause your hour's word is the enemy. Yeah, yeah, and our word is the enemy. Yeah. Fierce and lion on this one. I know the storm is harsh on mankind, but I will never ever lose my faith. Shaking my feet till fall to the ground, but I will never ever lose my faith. Tornado whirling, raining and thundering, but I will never ever lose my faith. Finance crashed, tribulation slam, but I will never ever lose my faith. Temptations, I roll like a dice, but I will never ever lose my faith. Therefore, welcome again to another episode of Israel Now's podcast. So give me a second to get everything together. I'm gonna get y'all the title and what we're dealing with, which see I'm sure y'all can see at the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Just give me one second. Let me get everything together.
All right, shalom, shalom. All right, family. Tonight, what we're gonna deal with is the name of the Almighty and the name of the Messiah. So the name that we use when we see in the Bible, in the scriptures, particularly the King James Version Bible, we see the name, or not the name, but the word Lord. We understand that there was a Hebrew word written there. We're gonna examine that Hebrew word, where it comes from, and then we're gonna look at the Messiah's name. All right. I want y'all to follow along with me. So those that really want to understand what's going on here, because I was talking to some people earlier today. Seems to be a lot of confusion about the name of the Almighty, the name of the Messiah, what name should be used. Um, so what I want y'all to do, those that really want to understand, I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper and write some stuff down as we go along, right? We're gonna go along this thing step by step to make it very, very clearly understood, right? It's gonna be like hooked on phonics, is exactly what it's gonna be like. And what's ironic about that is where they got the name hooked on phonics from is our ancient language, what we call the Paleo Hebrew or the ancient Hebrew, which is also known, it has other names other than just Paleo or ancient Hebrew. That same language is also known as the Phoenician language, right? So a lot of times, if you're looking for those letters that we call Paleo or ancient Hebrew, and you're studying somewhere online, you go to a library and study and try to look at these things. A lot of times you'll find these same letters under the word Phoenician, right? Um, but as I mentioned, hooked on phonics, right? That comes from the word Phoenician. That's the base word of it, Phoenician phonics. Why? Because in our ancient language, unlike modern Hebrew, you see what you say, or you say what you see, in other words, right? That's the reason why the English language is so confusing to people. The English language is one of the most hardest languages to learn upon the face of the earth. Why? Because a lot of it don't make no sense. Why doesn't it make sense? Um, because it is a bastardized language. All right. Keep that thought. Let me do something real quick. I need to do before I forget. Remind me where I'm at. Let me find something real quick. Nope. Give me 1 second, fam. I don't want to forget to do something. One thing I forgot to do, I want to do it right now before I forget. So give me a second. If I forget, y'all remember where I left off. I was talking about English being a bastardized language. Also, we have if you notice across the bottom of the screen, we're gonna have a call-in number today. So if anybody want to call in, ask a question concerning what I'm talking about tonight, feel free to call the number. You'll be on live. You can ask your question. I'll answer your question concerning what we are talking about. Now, give me a second. Let me find some real quick, then I'm gonna pick right back up to where I'm at, where I was at. No rush, y'all. Stay up, stay up with me. Stay alert. Stay attentive. Again, I want y'all to get a pencil and a piece of paper, pen and a piece of paper, because I want y'all to write some stuff down throughout the course of this. understand, because really recognize um, Hebrew letters, whether it's modern Hebrew or ancient Hebrew. You will have to know the letters, and so I'm trying to give y'all a good understanding, even for those that don't know that. And you'll see what we're gonna do. I want y'all to follow along and some stuff as well. All right, I'm almost ready. Give me 1 second, fam. Almost ready. Just looking for one little thing that I want to bring out to y'all. Get ready. So, okay. All right, here I go. Okay, so where I leave off at, y'all, I was talking about how English is a bastard language, right? What does that mean? That means that there are words in English that were taken from other languages, right? Whether it's Latin, whether it's Greek, whether it's Hebrew, whether it's whatever. They were taken from other languages. This is why if you ever watch the spelling bee from year to year, and you see those young kids in a spelling competition, right? And they're given a word. It could be a hard word to spell. A lot of times, what those kids would attempt to spell the word, guess what they would ask? What is the language of origin that this word comes from? Why do they ask that? They ask that because once they get the language of origin, now it will give them a better understanding of how they will spell the word in English. Well, why is that? What does that mean? For example, if they know the language of origin is from, I'm just going, whatever language, French, German, whatever, from that language, then now they know and understand that certain words in that language are pronounced a certain way, and therefore they were spelled a certain way in English. Um, and that's why they do that. That's exactly why they do that. It was, if it was from another language, they probably spelled it a different way in English. Um, you know, so just to give y'all an understanding, again, I want y'all to dialogue with me in the chat, dialogue with me on the phone for those that want to call in. You see the call in, I'll run a ticket, right? Um, I'm gonna teach y'all in tonight's class um, the best you can learn about Hebrew. And when I say Hebrew, I'm talking about the ancient Hebrew. We're gonna deal with some of the modern Hebrew as well. But most likely, I mean, the more we're gonna deal with the ancient Hebrew. Okay, so what is the name? We say Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. Some people say Yahweh. Some people say Yahuwah, right? Yahuwah. Some people say Yahweh, 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 right? All of these different names. When it comes to the name of the Messiah, it's been a big thing. Some people say Yahshua. Some people say Yeshua. Some people say Yahweh Shah. Some people say Yehoshua. Some people say Yahushua. All these different variations, right? What is the truth? How do we get and understand this truth? All right, y'all, walk with me. Let's go through this. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor to the Almighty Yahweh Elohim. May the Almighty bless each and every one of us with the understanding, with knowledge and wisdom, that we can understand and perceive the truth of the matters of how to worship the Almighty in spirit and in truth. Um, the scriptures talk about um, prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. Let's keep that in mind as we go through dealing with the name of the Messiah in the name of the Most High. Um, First thing I want to do for all those that may be Christians listening in, of course, we don't say Jesus. Very simple. That wasn't his name, right? We read that in the English. That was never his name 2,000 years ago that his mother named him. Let me share my screen real quick. Bear with me, y'all. All right, let's see. Let's see what I want. Okay, family. Y'all should be able to see what I have on the screen. Hello, screen. All right, there we go. So hopefully y'all can see that or make it bigger, whatever. Or if not, y'all can feel free to type in things, and y'all, if y'all can't see what I'm sharing, like make it out, I'm gonna have y'all do your own Google search on this stuff. So I typed in Google, is there a letter J in Hebrew? It answered no, the letter J does not exist in Hebrew alphabet. All right, cool. That's all we need to know. So we're not dealing with the letter J. We're not dealing with the name Jesus, period, point blank. That was not our Messiah's name. When he walked the earth 2,000 years ago, he was never called that. Okay, what was he called? Let's go to the scriptures. In the scriptures, if I go to the book of Matthew, the first chapter, Matthew chapter 1, and I'm going to pick up at verse 21. So Matthew chapter 1 and verse 21. Matthew 1 and 21, and it reads, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahweh, for he shall save his people from their sins. Of course, it say Jesus, but we know that that wasn't there in the original. So why did I say Yahweh? Let's do a walkthrough. If we look at this name Jesus in the English, where does that come from? How do we look that up? Anybody know how to look up Hebrew and Greek words? All you would need to know how to do. And when you look up the Hebrew and Greek words, this is what you will find. Use a concordance. Use like a Strong's concordance. Some people will use blue letter, whichever one you may use. Those are pretty much two of the most popular ones that people use. And when you go to that same verse, Matthew chapter 1 and verse 21, it will give you the Greek words that are there. So when we look at the Messiah's name in that particular verse, it says it comes from G for Greek, 2424. So the Greek word, and thank you, my brother that put that up there, brother, sister, whoever you are, truth counts. G2424, right? So if you touch G2424, it says of Hebrew origin. So it is letting you know that this name comes from Hebrew origin. And the Hebrew origin it comes from is H for Hebrew 3091. And this person also put it in the chat. Exactly. He's using a blue letter. I'm not using a blue letter, but same thing that I have. So it comes from Hebrew word 2424. Then it says Jesus. It says that is Jehoshua, the name of our Lord, and two parentheses, three other Israelites. So it's saying 2 to 3 other Israelites had this same name in the scriptures. One of those people was Joshua, the son of Nun, who led the children of Israel after Moses passed. He had the same name as the Messiah, right? And there was a couple other people in the scriptures that had the exact same name. And that Hebrew name that the Messiah had comes from Hebrew word number 3091, 3091. This is what we need, and this is all of it, right? This is extremely important. Sorry about that, fam. This is extremely important. 3091. We're going to look at this step by step, 3091, and we're going to figure out how do we pronounce this name to the best of our ability. What this name is, what it is not. First of all, we already concluded it's not Jesus. All right, 3091. So let's take that. Let's take this 3091. And let's go to 3091 now, right? So let's go there. 3091. And what I'm doing is you can take a actually let's go to Joshua. I'll put that in. So what you'll do is you can use a concordance, whether you have it in book form that has the Hebrew and Greek letters or Hebrew and Greek words and definitions, right? So since it told us that 2 to 3 other Israelites had the same name, and it said Joshua was one of the ones that is mentioned, so we're going to go to Joshua. I type in Joshua, we go to the book of Exodus. The first place I see the name, the first place in the scriptures I see the name Joshua is in the book of Exodus, chapter 17 and verse 9. It says, and Moses said unto Joshua, and I'm not going to read the rest of the verse because it's not relevant to why we're going here. Moses said unto Joshua, right after the word Joshua is there in English, you will see the Hebrew H3091, letting you know that that English word Joshua came from the Hebrew word 3091. So what do? We touch on 3091. And we see that there is a longer version of the name Joshua in Hebrew, a shorter version. We're going to use the shorter version because almost everybody does, right? And again, the Messiah had the exact same name as Joshua. 3091 represents the Hebrew word that was used for Joshua's name, that was used for the Messiah name, H3091. Now, what we will find in 3091 for those that do not recognize modern Hebrew letters or characters, we see from right to left 5 letters, right? One letter looks like a small little comma. That letter is called a yod. That is the name of the letter, yod. The next letter is a hey. All right. It looks like actually, you know what? I'm gonna find it on Google for y'all so we can all look at it, and I'm gonna share my screen at the same time. So give me a second, family. And I'm gonna see if we can find this. So let's see. H3091. Strong's Concordance. We'll use that. All right, let's see. Got it in blue letter. We'll put that up. Blue letter Bible. All right, perfect. Let's see. All right. Okay, perfect. Here we go. Let me see. There we go. All right, now let me share my screen with y'all. Y'all can see what I'm seeing. Y'all can see what I'm seeing. Wait a minute. Hold on, fam. I shared the wrong page, so let me reshare. All right, you should be able to see what I'm seeing now. Okay, what we have is you see where my cursor is moving. Say the KJV translate Strong's H3091 into the following. Say Joshua this many times, whatever, right? We see it's the same thing, H3091. When I go above here, this is how it's written in modern Hebrew characters. Modern Hebrew characters. Remember, it's read from right to left. So that first letter looks like a comma upside down. That's called a yod, right? So write that down. Yod, Y-O-D, Yod. That's the name of the letter. The second letter is called a He. That's the name of the letter. The third letter is called a Y. That's the name of the letter. The fourth letter is called a Shin. That is the name of the letter. The fifth letter is called an Ayin. That is the name of the letter. So how do you spell the Messiah's name in Hebrew? It comes from H3091. You spell it Yod, He, Wa, Shin, Ayin. 5 letters. Now, guess what we're going to do? All we're going to do is take a walk, right? Remember, this language is known as modern Hebrew, but we got to take a walk down history real quick, right? It's known as Hebrew, it's known as modern Hebrew, it's known as biblical Hebrew. These names are extremely deceptive. Why are they deceptive? To call a language biblical Hebrew, that would imply that for an average person, you would think that that means this is the language that the Bible was originally written in, and it is not. And this is a fact, right? This is a fact. The language that we just showed on the screen, those characters, this is not biblical Hebrew, right? Now, to be perfectly honest, I'll give y'all the history. In my opinion, the world calls it Hebrew. I don't even think uh, it is Hebrew, period. Why do I say that? Why is it not Hebrew? Um, because this language that we're looking at, these letters, let's go back to the days of Moses, right? Moses wrote the Torah. Moses did not write it in these letters that we're seeing, right? He did not write it in these letters that are on the screen. If the Almighty rose Moses from the dead right now and showed him these letters, Moses would have no idea what these letters are. But according to the research we have here, this is his successor's name. This is Joshua's name. He wouldn't be able to recognize in Hebrew Joshua's name, right? The person that was right under him, that led the children of Israel after Moses passed, the person that was working with Moses while Moses was alive. No, Moses would not recognize none of these letters. The Yod, He, Waw, Shin, A, in this form of these letters. No. Well, where did our ancestors get these letters from? Why is it called biblical Hebrew? Well, what happened was we had 12 tribes of Israel. Around 722 BC, the 10 tribes went into captivity under the Assyrians and never returned home. So let's forget about the 10 tribes right now because they're not relevant to this discussion of what we're talking about here. The southern kingdom consisted of mainly the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and half tribe of Levi, some of the Levites. They were still in their homeland in the southern kingdom of Israel, mainly around Jerusalem during that time. But, they got their own lands according to the tribes. They remained in the land of Israel until the Babylonian captivity. The main date given for the Babylonian captivity is around 586 BC. 586 BC. So from the days of Moses, who wrote in Paleo Hebrew, not in this type of Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, also known as Paleo Hebrew, right? All the way until around 586 BC, when the southern kingdom was taken into captivity under the Babylonians. Once they went into the Babylonian captivity, this is where they learned this letter system. The Babylonians didn't call it biblical Hebrew. They didn't call it Hebrew at all, right? Um, based on history, it is known as Aramaic. These same letters and this same letter block system, our ancestors from the Babylonian captivity, that is where they learned those letters and those letter systems that we're looking up here, that they're now calling biblical Hebrew. So guess what that really is? These letters that we're looking at, we learned this in captivity. Moses didn't write like that when he wrote the Torah. And when we read in the book of Psalms and we look up archaeology about the book of Psalms and everything that our ancestors wrote prior to the Babylonian captivity, they did not use any of these letters that look like this, known as the block system of letters. They didn't use it. But guess when we look at archaeology, where we do find letters that look just like this, when we find like the book of Isaiah, the book of Jeremiah, the Dead Sea Scrolls, all of these um, writings that came after the Babylonian learned another language, spoken language, as well as another written language in the Babylonian captivity. And these things are facts, right? These are just straight facts that you need to know and leading up to where we need to be. So if we learned that in captivity and the Messiah had the same name as Joshua, then guess what I want to do? I want to go back to the writing system that we had before captivity and look at Joshua's name and know and understand that the Messiah had the exact same name as him, right? And it wasn't in these letters. So now let's go back to these letters. Let's go back. I got 5 letters: Yod, He, Wah, Shin, Ayin. This is what I want y'all to do. Let's go to the book of Psalms, 110th chapter, Psalms 110. Told y'all need to be writing this down. We're going to walk this through. We about to walk this thing through. Psalms 110. And I'm going to show y'all something. Actually, I want Psalms 119. Not Psalms 110. Psalms 119th chapter. All right. In Psalms 119, you will see before verse number 1, Aleph, Aleph. Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Whether we're talking about ancient Hebrew or modern Hebrew, the name of the letters will be the same. All right. When we drop down right above verse 9, we see Bet. Bet is the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet. The first letter is Aleph. The second letter is Bet. Sound familiar? Put those two words together. Aleph, Bet. This is how they come up with the word alphabet in English, from Aleph and Bet. All right. Now, the third letter is Gamel. That is above verse 17. Then we have Dalet above verse 25. Then we have Hey, right? And then you follow down. We have Wah above verse 41. Zayin, Chet, just scan on through. Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, A and Pei, Zadi, Quoth, Reshin, and Ta. All of these 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet are in Psalms 119. Some Bibles will just give you the name of the letter. Some Bible will show you what the letter actually looked like as well as the name. All right. or some will just show you what the letter look like and may not give you the name. Any variations, but the Hebrew alphabet is indeed in the book of Psalms, 119th chapter, which we seen there. 22 letters: Alet, Bet, Gamel, Dalet, Hey, Wah, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Am, Pei, Zadi, Quoth, Resh, Shin, and Ta. Those are the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Now, what we want to do, we want to go back to this name, and we're going to, let's use the modern Hebrew first. Then we're going to use the ancient Hebrew. So check this out. I'm going to even do it in modern Hebrew. Usually I just go to straight ancient Hebrew, but I'm going to do this in modern Hebrew today. Let's see. So this is what I want to do. So when we're looking at the screen and we're looking at the name, the first letter from right to left is a Yod, right? Y-O-D, Yod. Now, let's see what letter or what sound does the letter Yod make. Let's see. Because we're about to figure out the Messiah's name right now, y'all. We're about to figure it out right now. What sound does the letter Yod make? Let's see. I'm going to have y'all follow along with me. So y'all, we just going slow because we need to clarify some stuff. Can y'all see my screen? All right, look what it says. Just share my screen. Look what it says. I just typed in Google. What sound does the Hebrew letter Yod make? The Hebrew letter Yod typically makes a Y sound. That's all we need. The Hebrew letter Yod typically makes a Y sound, and it shows you a picture of the letter Yod, and we can see that is the first letter from right to left in when we look at the Messiah's name. Yod is the first letter from right to left because Hebrew is read and written from right to left. All right, so if Yod makes the Y sound, I need y'all to write that down. So we know if we're talking about the Messiah's name, the very first sound we need to make when we're talking about the Messiah's name need to be what sound? A Y sound. Right? So of course that kills Jesus already. That name is not even in the running. But the first sound that we should make should be a Y sound. That's the first sound that we should make, a Y sound. Now, the second letter was a hey. Let's do the same thing. I'm gonna type in Google. What sound does the Hebrew letter hey make? And I'm gonna share the screen with y'all. What sound does the Hebrew letter hey make? Look what it says. The Hebrew letter hey, then it shows you a picture of hey, so you can see that's the same second letter that we got for the Messiah's name, typically makes a voiceless guttural fractional H sound. All right, makes a H sound. So far we have a Y sound followed by H sound. You should write that down in English. We're trying to figure out what is the Messiah's name. Y sound followed by H sound. Let's go back. What was the third letter in the Messiah's name? The third letter was the letter Hey. So let's see what that makes. Y'all could type in and Google yourself, or y'all could follow along what I'm putting on the screen. Either one. So let's go to the letter Hey. Okay. Let's see. Give me a second. Wait a minute, not Hey. I already did Hey. I need Y. We had Yod and Hey. The Yod was a Y sound. The Hey was a H sound. Then the third letter is Y. So that's what I need to do. What sound does the Hebrew letter Y make? Give me a second. Let me find what I need to find. Okay. Should be sharing the screen now. I should be able to see it, family. So the Messiah's name consists of 5 letters. We got 2 letters out the way to Yo Hey. Now we're on the third letter. And look what it says. The Hebrew letter Y, also known as Vav, fractionally functions as both a consonant and a vowel. Now, all of these rules are for modern Hebrew. This is not for ancient Hebrew. They're giving you, but I'm still just showing you in modern Hebrew. It functions as a consonant and a vowel, commonly making the V sound in modern Hebrew and the W sound in ancient Hebrew. You see that? So the letter Y says it commonly makes the V sound in modern Hebrew. It can also make an O sound in modern Hebrew. It can also make a U sound in modern Hebrew, depending on what vowel point you put beside it, around it, on top of it, stuff like that. We're not dealing with all that right now, but it says that a little later in here. But look what it says. It says, and a W sound in ancient Hebrew. Ancient Hebrew. Remember, Joshua had the same name. So when that letter Y was written in Joshua's name, it made a what? A W sound, right? A W sound. The Messiah wasn't given a Aramaic name. He was given a Hebrew name. Okay. So not a modern Hebrew name. So we got 3 letters. We got a Yod, Hey, and a Y. These are the first 3 letters of the Messiah's name: Yod, Hey, and Y. Yod, according to Google, and according to Hebrew, according to ancient Hebrew, which I have before me. If I need to show you, I will. So the letter Yod makes a Y sound. The second letter is a letter Hey. It makes a H sound. The third letter is the letter Y. It makes a W sound. So what do we know so far? Before we finish the last 2 letters of the Messiah's name, the first 3 sounds that you should make coming out of your mouth, the first 3 consonantal sounds, should be reflective of what it's saying. That's why I said we're doing hooked on phonics. That's why this language of ancient Hebrew is known as the Phoenician language. You say what you see, right? Um, So the first 3 sounds in pronouncing the Messiah's name should reflect how it is written. A Y sound, followed by a H sound, followed by a W sound. Yahweh, Yahweh. That's a Y sound, followed by H, followed by a W sound. Okay? Now, let's go to the last 2. 2 more letters. The next letter in the Messiah's name was what? The letter Shin. All right, let's see if Google will tell us the sound the letter Shin makes. I'll show y'all a picture of what it even looks like. All right, so look at this. Letter Shin. This is how it looks in modern Hebrew. And look what it says. Under phonetics, the 21st letter of the Hebrew alphabet, called Shin, pronounced Sheen, and has the sound sh, sh. So sh, as in sh. That's the sound that letter makes. So what you should have written down on your notes right now, for those that don't recognize rather modern or ancient Hebrew letters, which I haven't showed ancient Hebrew yet, you should have the English equivalent, right? You should have a Y, the letter Y, followed by the letter H, followed by the letter W, followed by the letters SH, because all we're doing is transliterating the Messiah's name. Transliteration means to take the sound from one language and bring it to another language by using a letter that makes the same sound as in the previous language. So if the Messiah's name starts with the letter Yod, and we know that Yod makes a Y sound, then we're going to use a Y in English. We're not going to use a J. I don't know, all through the scriptures, they use the J every time, right? We have the apostle John. In Hebrew, his name is starts with a Yod, and they put it as a J. We have Joshua, the son of Nun. In Hebrew, his name is Yahweh Shah, starts with a Y, and they wrote it with a J. Right? We have our city, Jerusalem, but in Hebrew, the city starts with a letter Yod. It's like every time they see the letter Yod, what makes the Y sound, they use the J. Well, we're not doing that. We are transliterating it correctly. All right. So again, the letter Yod, we have a letter in the English language that is equivalent to that letter, the letter Y. So that's what we're going to use. The second letter is Hey. The English equivalent is a H, so we use H. The third letter is a Y. The English equivalent is a W, so we use W. The fourth letter is a Shin. Shin makes a SH sound, so we use a SH. Let's go to the last letter, and the last letter is a AN, right? It's pronounced AN. AN can make different sounds according to modern Hebrew and ancient, but in ancient Hebrew, it makes a O sound. Ancient Hebrew, AN makes the O sound. Actually, let me show y'all something. I haven't showed y'all any ancient Hebrew yet, but I'm gonna show y'all now. This is how the ancient Hebrew characters look. Just like this, right? Just like this. This is ancient Hebrew letters, as opposed to modern Hebrew letters, right? So, and let's give you the same thing. The number sequence of the concordance, the definitions, all that different stuff. Look what we have here. This is the letter AN right here. It shows you the modern and ancient though. This is the letter AN in ancient Hebrew, and this is the letter AN in modern Hebrew. I'll let you know the letter AN in ancient Hebrew makes the O sound, right? So that's what we're getting at. It makes the O sound. That's the letter AN. All right, that's why it says AN. AYIN right there. That's that letter. All right, so now this book is the Torah Dictionary in ancient Hebrew. The Torah Dictionary in ancient Hebrew. These are all definitions in ancient Hebrew. They a lot of the definitions corresponds to the same number sequences as the what you'll see in the Strong's Concordance. So for example, we said that the Messiah's name is 3091, right? Well, we can look up 3091 just in ancient Hebrew, and it'll give you the ancient Hebrew letters as opposed to the modern Hebrew letters. Let me show y'all what that looked like. So, because I shared the screen and showed y'all what the Messiah's name would look like and what Joshua, the son of Nun's name would look like in modern Hebrew characters, now I'm going to show you what it will look like in ancient Hebrew characters. All right. Let's see. Let me find it real quick. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. This is what it looked like. This is Messiah's name right here. Hold on. Let me get it a little closer to the screen for you. Right there. Y'all see that? From right to left. Hold on. Let me find it again. Okay, it's right there. Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin in ancient Hebrew letters. Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin. And I can do the same thing because this book will tell me what sound each letter makes in ancient Hebrew. And it's going to go to what I just showed y'all. So the Yod make the Y sound, the Hey make the H sound, the Y makes a W sound, the Shin makes a SH sound, and the AM makes a O sound. Um, I know some brothers say the AM make an I sound. Based on the research I haven't done, the AM makes an O sound. All right, that doesn't change it significantly, but check it out. So if this is how the Messiah's name is spelled, which indeed it is, we just went through um, the letters that they use to spell the Messiah's name. It's from 3091. It's 5 Hebrew letters: Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin. Now we turn them into English letters. That's a Y, that's a H, that's a W, S H, and O. Y H W S H O. Right? What would that spell to y'all? Somebody help me out. Sound that out for me. What do you get from that? Sound that out. Y H W S H O. Sound that out. I'm gonna give y'all a minute. Write that down on a piece of paper. Get a pencil and paper, pen and paper, and literally write that down. And tell me, do you get Yeshua from that? Can't be Yeshua. Why? Yeshua starts with a Y, and then it goes straight to a SH sound, right? Is the second letter of his name in Hebrew, is it a Shin, or is the second letter a Hey? The second letter is a Hey. So you must make the H sound next. The third letter of his name is a Y. So you must make a W sound next. The fourth letter of his name is a Shin. Now you go to the SH sound. Why people say Yeshua and they go straight from a Y sound straight to a SH sound? They skip the Hey, they skip the Y. What sense did that make? We doing hooked on phonics, right? Phonics, Phoenician. You say what you see, right? If you see a Hebrew letter calf, you make a k sound, right? If you see a Hebrew letter tet, you make a t sound as in T, because that's the letter tet make, or that's the sound the letter tet make. If you see a letter yod, you make a Y sound. You see a letter hey, you make a H sound. It's very simple. It's extremely simple. So Yah Ha Wa Shah. That's the Messiah's name all day. Yahweh Shah. 5 letters, and we just transliterated those 5 letters. We didn't translate them, we transliterated it. What does that mean? To transliterate something means you take the sound from one language and you use the same letter that makes the same sound in the next language. That's transliteration. To translate something means I'm going to take the meaning of the word from one language into another language. So to transliterate the Messiah's name is to take the sound. To translate the Messiah's name or any other name or any other word, to translate it means I'm going to take the meaning. So how do we translate the Messiah's name? Well, when we go into the Hebrew, we find out that his name means salvation and redemption. So to translate that, we're going to say it means the salvation or redemption. But to transliterate it is to use the sound. That's the difference between translation and transliteration. All right. Now I said we was doing the Most High name as well. So the Almighty's name, when we see Lord, a lot of people use the King James Version Bible. You see capital L, capital O, capital R, and capital D. What Hebrew letters did that come from? It comes from a Yod, Hey, Wah, Hey. And in English, that's equivalent to YHWH. We see that all over everywhere, all over Facebook, all over everything. We see that all over everywhere, right? Let me show y'all what that looked like real quick. Right, I got it on the hat right here. So I got it on the hat right here. Check out the hat. From right to left, Yod, Hey, Wah, Hey. Yod, Hey, Wah, Hey. Ancient Hebrew letters, right? But look at what's very interesting about this. This is why we say Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. Notice the first three sounds that I make when I say the Almighty's name, Yahweh. Look, Yahweh. And then that's a hey again. But these first three letters is the exact same first three letters in the Messiah's name. So some people will say something like Yahweh is the Messiah's name, or Yahweh, and then they'll say Yahshua is the Messiah's name. Well, wait a minute. I'm gonna cover this letter. These first three letters, Yod, Hey, and Wah, are the same first three letters in the Most High's name and the Messiah's name. So doesn't it stand to reason? Isn't it common sense that if whether we're saying the Almighty's name or the Messiah's name, that the first three sounds out of our mouth should be the exact same first three sounds in both names? Because they're written the exact same way. The first three letters are exactly the same. These first three letters spell the first three letters of the Almighty name Yahweh, and the same first three letters of the Messiah's name Yahweh Shah. So it's Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. The first three sounds are the same. The first three letters are the same. That makes sense? Whether we're spelling the Almighty's name, it starts with Yod, Hey, Wah. The Messiah's name starts with Yod, Hey, Wah. The first three sounds should be the same. Makes perfect sense, right? It makes perfect sense. I'll keep this on. Y'all continue to look at it. Right? It makes perfect sense. Um, do I have any questions so far? Um, you should be able to find the book by going to the internet, the Torah Dictionary in Ancient Hebrew by Bet Hashem Madresh. Bet Hashem Madresh. You should be able to find it that way. All right, so that's where you can find the book. What is the transliteration of Yahweh Shah in Aramaic or Syriac according to Matthew 121? I can't really say Aramaic. I can guess based on the modern Hebrew, but I never studied Aramaic like that, even though I know it's the same black characters. I mainly studied Paleo Hebrew or Ancient Hebrew. Um, and then what I personally believe, really, and based on a lot of things, um, I don't believe names. Oh, you didn't say trans. You saying the transliteration. I would say it's probably the same thing as modern Hebrew, the same letters, and they probably make roughly around the same sounds. Um, but I can't say definitive about that because I've studied very little of Aramaic or Syriac. Um, I mainly studied the Paleo Hebrew, so I can't give you a definite on what would be the transliteration of that. Um, I'm just assuming it's going to be those same letters, and I'm assuming the sounds are similar. But again, that's an assumption. All right. Um, let's see. What do I want to go to? Um, the book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 10 through 12. This is why the name is important, especially when you can just walk through it, just like we just did. We're literally just walking through. But it's important that y'all do some studies and learn the characters, right? So if I say Yod, everybody's having in mind what a Yod look like. Whether we talking about ancient Hebrew or modern Hebrew, we should know what a Yod look like. Um, so stuff like that. All right, Acts chapter 4. Let's go there. Acts chapter 4. I'm going to read verses 10 through 12. Look what it says. Be it known unto you all and to all the people of Israel that by the name of Yahushua HaMashiach of Nazareth, whom ye crucified, whom Elohim raised from the dead, even by him doth this man stand before you whole. This is the stone which was set at naught of you builders, which is become the head of the corner. Now watch verse 12. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. So it is saying this is the only name under heaven whereby we must be saved. And that name was Yahushua. So it's important to know the right name, right? It is important to know the right name, Yahushua. All right, to the best of our ability. And that's what we just did. So what I usually do, I take those modern Hebrew letters or characters and I turn them into ancient Hebrew characters, right? I take the modern Hebrew and turn them into ancient Hebrew, right? And the only thing I did was this. So check it out. And notice, and look, I'll say this. The people in Judaism, the people that are Jewish, they'll say that his name was Yeshua. But here's an interesting point about them saying his name is Yeshua. They don't spell it the way we sing that it should be spelled according to the Strong's Concordance in a blue letter. They don't spell it the same way. And the reason why they don't spell it the same way is because they know how to read Hebrew. And they don't say it's spelled Yod Hey Wah Shin Ayin because they know that don't say Yeshua, right? It doesn't say Yeshua in ancient Hebrew. It doesn't say Yeshua in modern Hebrew, right? So they spell it a whole different way. They spell it Yod Shin Wah Ayin, right? So they skip the hey and they put the water in, stuff like that. So they spell it totally different because they understand how to read the modern Hebrew language. All right. The ancient Hebrew is different characters, and that is different characters. And the ancient Hebrew also did not have any what they call nuku or vowel points. It didn't have any vowel points, right? So how would one know how to pronounce all of the words without vowel points? The reason you would know that is because you grew up hearing the language spoken. The same way we know how to pronounce things in English, right? We grew up, every word in English is not phonetically spelled, right? Some things you look at like, why would you spell it like that? That doesn't even make sense. Like the word knife, it's spelled Knife. Well, the only reason that we know to pronounce it knife because we all grew up speaking this language. When you didn't grow up speaking it, right, the way in the days of Moses, before any captivity, as far as the Babylonian captivity, that changed from the ancient Hebrew characters to what is known as Aramaic, the Aramaic block characters is the same letter system that is now used in what they call modern or biblical Hebrew today. Those are not the Hebrew letters that Moses wrote in. And so people knew based on the context how you pronounce certain things and words, and also just based on hearing it spoken every day, hearing it spoken as an everyday language. And that's what we don't have, right? Now, modern Hebrew is spoken as an everyday language today, but we can't be for sure that modern Hebrew, the way that it is spoken today, is the way that our ancestors spoke it in the days of Moses before these captivities, before the Babylonian captivity mainly. All right. And why we can't be for sure of that? Because the true Israelites has been cut off. We've been scattered. We lost our language, all this different stuff, right? That is the reason why we have Zephaniah chapter 3 when it talks about the Almighty is going to return to us a pure language, and we shall all call upon him with one consent. I think a lot of people misunderstood what that is, right? So these letters that I have on my hat, this is the pure language when it comes to, notice what I'm about to say, when it comes to the written form, right? The written form, the letters, the written form. We have archaeology and artifacts from, you know, here, I'll show you one come to mind. Um, let's see. And hopefully y'all can see it good. I'm gonna see if I can make it bigger. If not, or I'll tell y'all what I typed in. All right, I'm about to share my screen. This is known as the Salome inscription. And I'm going to read a brief thing about it. The Salome inscription is a 6-line Paleo-Hebrew text found in 1880, documenting the 8th century BC construction of Hezekiah's tunnel. It was connected in Gihon Spring to the Siloam Pool. All right, so it's known as the Salome inscription. Now I'm going to go to images. Right, so here's an image of it. Let's see if I can click on one, make it. If I can make it a little bigger, I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, that didn't make it bigger. Okay, hold on. Let me go back, fam. All right, give me a second. Trying to make it a little bigger, but I couldn't make it bigger. But um, I'm not sure if y'all can see that or not. But if you can't, type in the Salome inscription. I think you spell like Siloam inscription, taken from King Hezekiah's tunnel, and you will look at these letters closely. It's the same letters that's on my hat, right? This is known as ancient Hebrew. It's known as Paleo Hebrew. The word Paleo means ancient. It's also known as Phoenician. It's known as the Canaanite language. It's known by different names based on where you search, right? If you're searching in the library, a lot of times you're not going to find it under ancient or Paleo Hebrew. You're going to find it under Phoenician or Canaanite or something like that. At least that's why I was always able to find it over the years. So and I know many people are not even using the library these days, but you know, I like to do a lot of old school research still. Okay. What was I about to say about this? Okay, so yeah, this is known as the Salome inscription, and notice the timeline, right? It is before, it says the 8th century, okay? Talking about the 8th century BC. All right. So that's anywhere from 701 BC. Sorry. That's anywhere from 800 BC down to 701 BC. Remember, BC times start high and go low. So that should be from 800 BC to 701 BC. And guess what that is before? It is before the Babylonian captivity. All right. So all I'm saying is this. If the Messiah's name was written with 5 Hebrew letters, according to the Strong's Concordance, according to the blue letter, right? And we look at those 5 Hebrew letters. Let me remove this real quick. If his name was written with 5 Hebrew letters, and we know that it says that those 5 Hebrew letters are taken from Hebrew word 3091, and we see 5 Hebrew letters. And we turn them back into 5 ancient Hebrew letters, right? Why do we do that? Because it said Joshua had the same name. We want to use the purest form before they went into Babylonian captivity and started using a whole different writing system. and I can take you here and I can say, all right, let me do it real quick. And I can say, okay, those 5 Hebrew letters are Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin, right? And I can take you here and I can say, okay, I can look at this and I can say, all right, where? Here's the Yod right here, the ancient Hebrew Yod. Boom, right there. Then we look here, it makes a Y sound. All right, first letter Yod. Then I can say, okay, well, where's the Hey? Then I can take you right here, the second letter, and I can say, okay, well, here's the ancient Hebrew Hey. What sound do it make? It make an H sound. So Yod, Hey, Y sound followed by H sound. Then I can say, all right, well, here's the third letter. Here's the letter Y. What sound do it make? It make a W sound. They got a slash U next to it. Why? Because in modern Hebrew, a lot of times, not every time, that same letter would make a U sound, but not in ancient Hebrew. And we've seen the same thing in Google. Google says when we Google what sound does the Hebrew letter Y make, it said it make a V sound, but in ancient Hebrew, it makes a W sound, right? And then we got the letter Shin next, right? So we go to that letter Shin and we say, okay, well, what letter does Shin make, right? So we go to the Shin, it's right here. Y'all see it? And then we look over and Shin makes a SH sound. So we got Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin. So Y sound, H sound, W sound, SH sound. And then the last letter, we got the letter A, which makes what? An O sound in ancient Hebrew. And if I put that together, Yahweh-Shah. This is the reason why we say Yahweh-Shah. That's it. Now, I never fuss or fight about the different pronunciations people say in modern Hebrew. Why? Because a lot of those do actually say that in modern Hebrew for those that can read modern Hebrew. Some people will say Yehoshua if you can read modern Hebrew. And when I took y'all back, here, let me take y'all back, right? To, well, I'm gonna just say it. When I took y'all back to how those modern Hebrew characters were there and written and things like that, we seen vowel points there. Those vowel points will tell you what vowels are connected and how to pronounce it. So when you follow those vowel points, you will get a different pronunciation. Here's the point. I personally don't follow those vowel points, right? I think that's why I choose to read it in ancient Hebrew. Ancient Hebrew never had vowel points. Where did those vowel points come from? Where did these things come from? Did that come from our people? And when did they come about? Let's do a little more research, right? When did the vowel points come about and where did they come from and who made them up? Somebody tell me that in the chat. Let me see if I could dialogue with a couple of y'all. What do you get vowels from in ancient Hebrew? What do you mean vowels? A-H. I'm not really sure what you mean. So this is what I see concerning vowels. I'm not very sure about exactly what you're asking, but we know that so a vowel, based on my understanding, is this. What they mean by when they'll say, a lot of people will say there are no vowels in Hebrew. But then if you look at the first letter, Aleph, it's supposed to make the A sound. In ancient Hebrew, it says to make the A sound. Some things in modern Hebrew, I've seen that it made the A sound. But then I've seen other things in modern Hebrew where they'll say the letter Aleph doesn't make any sound until you put a vowel point on it. And once you put a vowel point with it, then that's the sound that it will make according to whatever vowel point you put on it, right? A vowel point for an A or E or whatever. But regardless of that, we think in English we'll say the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U, where there are letters that would make an A sound, in Hebrew, mainly ancient Hebrew, when I deal with the letter Aleph. So hold on a second, fam. Shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, shalom.
Hey, shalom, brother.
Hey, shalom, fam.
Yes, my name is Brother Jediah, and I was just here listening to your
Gotcha.
discussion.
I know exactly who you are, and I recognize your voice. But go ahead.
Oh, great, man. What is it possible to join in the discussion with you today?
Yeah, for sure. That's why I put the phone number in the chat. So absolutely.
Okay.
Family.
Can you drop a link in the chat?
Oh, you meant like that? Oh, well, you're on live right now. Everybody can hear you.
Oh, okay. I wanted to pull up some Paleo Hebrew writing to demonstrate some things, possibly that might bring some edification to the discussion if you were able to.
Absolutely. So I think I know where you're going, and yep, let's do it. I think I kind of already answered that, but yeah, we can do it. So, what do you want to pull? So wait a minute. So you're saying you want to share your screen?
If possible, yes. Thank you.
Okay. You can. Is it something I can find? Because I can share it right here for everybody. Everybody
Sure.
can hear you, but if you tell me where you're going, I can share it as well. So that's what I'll do.
I could send you how you know what I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. It's a link to Paleo Hebrew scripture, and if I put it in the chat, would you be able to pull it up from that link?
I should be. Put it in the chat, and we'll see. If I can't, we'll figure out something else.
I appreciate that.
Is it like, so it's from the scriptures themselves? Yeah, because I don't actually.
Yeah, it's the scriptures themselves.
Okay, cool. Because I was going to say, I usually have but I don't have it with me today. I just have like my dictionary, but sometimes I'll be having my ancient or Paleo Hebrew like Tanakh, but yeah. I don't have it with me right now. But I think I know where you're going, and I think I already gave the answer to that. But let's see if I know where you're going. We'll see.
Okay, I'm gonna try to drop it now.
Okay.
In the link.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see.
And my answer, more than likely, I'm almost positive I know where you're going. But we'll see.
Okay. I just dropped the link in the chat.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
Let me see.
So yeah, I don't actually. And then hopefully, yeah, if we maybe we can see some examples of the Paleo text to help people get an understanding of the Paleo language and how it's read and so forth. That I kind of wanted to add to what some of the things you were saying in the discussion about Paleo.
Okay. Yeah, I can't click on it and go to it, but I should be able to go to it another way though. So
okay.
Hold on, let me see.
And you know, it's a blessing to see brothers talking about this discussion, you know, because this is what our people need, you know, to gain understanding on the name of the Most High and His Son, the Messiah. You know, I think these discussions will really help bring some brotherhood and unity to the nation, for us to gain understandings in these areas and the language, so that we can, you know, begin to use the language.
Right.
You know.
Gotcha. So I don't know, man. Israel is a funny people, bro. It almost seems like the things that are supposed to unite us end up driving us farther and farther away. You know, I don't know. It'd be crazy. Okay, but so
do you have a StreamYard link?
Stream. Yeah, I got a StreamYard link. Yep.
Okay, you can drop that in the chat and I'll try.
Okay. If I can't get it on here, then I'll give you the link. Okay.
Okay.
So I went to crowndiamond.org.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put in the rest of that. I just figure I could find it from getting there.
Okay.
So I'm at the Crown Diamond, and is it a place that you want me to go from there, or if not, I can go back and put in the rest?
It's paleo scriptures, using paleo. So, that way we can pull up some of the text in paleo and demonstrate, what it looks like,
Okay.
different perspectives on how it's read and so forth.
All right. What book am I going to? Is it a part of the Torah? Because I see on here.
I hadn't pulled up anywhere specifically, so it's pretty much open to where anyone would like maybe to have a discussion on any particular precept. Maybe we can pull it up and do our best to read it.
Oh, okay, got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought it was like one particular verse or place you wanted me to go. I understand what you're saying now. All right, so when I hit this is not showing me on here in ancient Hebrew. It's actually showing me all English letters for the ancient Hebrew.
There's a paleo version. You'll see it in the link that I put in the chat. It should say crowndiamond.org/paleo Hebrew scriptures PDF. And that way you'll see the whole scriptures in paleo, and then we can share that with the family.
Okay, let me see what come up.
Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't come up for you, again, I will be able to pull it up on my end from my iPad to show the people. If you can drop the link.
Okay, got you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So I can send you an email with the link.
Okay.
Is that what you want me to do, or I got an option to messenger you or email?
You can put it right in the chat here, or you can email me. I'm still not emailed it.
Okay, yeah, I don't know how to put it in the chat. It's I only see the option to messenger or email, so I'm not sure about how to put it in the chat.
All right, I'm writing it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I just dropped it in.
Okay. All right. I don't see. Are you on Facebook or YouTube?
No, I got it right in the YouTube chat. KaiYeshua@gmail.com. You see it?
Nope, I don't see it. I see other people's chat. I see they saying the copy and paste, but I don't see where you put it.
I'm right above it where it says copy and paste. The last one, the next to last one.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. KaiYeshua@gmail.com.
Well, you know what? I don't see it, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna just let you tell it to me again, and I'll put it in there. Hold on.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. You said it's a Gmail, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
KHA.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, KHA.
Mm-hmm.
IY. AS. HUA. noww.yahshua@gmail.
Okay, you should have it.
Okay, I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, another brother said it's not in the chat, so I guess it didn't come up because I looked and somebody in the chat saying they don't see it either. It didn't come up. But
okay.
Either way, I just sent it to you, so you should have
Okay.
it.
Thank you, brother. I should be. Okay, I see it.
So this is gonna be kind of like what they call it, a tale of two cities, right? So I think that so I don't know how much you deal with the what we call ancient Hebrew or Paleo Hebrew, how much you deal with it or at all. I'm not sure. Um, but okay, I see you. Let me bring you on.
Okay.
I'm about to hang up the phone now.
Okay.
All right, bro, you there?
Hey, Shalom, Ak, how you doing?
Shalom, shalom, doing good.
All
Okay, so
praise.
I think that so I don't know how much you deal with ancient Hebrew or anything like that. So some of the differences are um there are some differences, if you do acknowledge that, whether ancient Hebrew or modern Hebrew and things like that. And so those are the differences that I'll be pointing out. You know,
Okay.
there are some differences in and that's what I was gonna get into next. I was gonna get into, you know, how we got into the Masoretic text, who the Masoretes are, and how they added these vowel points and all this different stuff, right? And I understand it is good to use for a spoken language, but I can't be for sure that the vowel points that they chose and added to certain words it reflective of how our forefathers, all the way back to the days of Moses, how they pronounced these words, right? And so that's where the discrepancy comes in. And you know, some other things concerning the vowel points. I know that they took some things from German language and different things like that based on things that I read. But go ahead and share what you were talking about.
Okay. I'm trying to share my screen with you.
Okay.
Shucks. I
And
might need
honestly, on your end, honestly, I'm not sure how
yeah.
to do it. I don't know if it shows what mine shows as you being you know what I mean, somebody just brought on. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
I think I know what to do. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let me type this in and see if this works. Y'all willing this will work. Paleo Hebrew scriptures. PDF. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. So now let me go back to StreamYard and try to share my screen. Share screen. Share screen. Allow to share window. Shit. No, I'm in Safari. Do I need to be in the other one? Okay. Give me 1 second. I gotta log into Chrome and I should be able to do what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you
All
for your
right.
patience.
So
I appreciate it. I'll be right there.
while the brothers, okay, while the brothers doing that, I'm gonna backtrack some. I might start from the bottom, but give me a second. All right, so I got one that says Truth Count say the Masoretes didn't invent didn't invent new sounds at all. Okay. Um, Masoretes didn't invent new sounds at all. Um, and I think that what would have to be shown in that, and I don't think we can really show that. You know, that's why over the years I've always talked about this is the Most High's name, Yod Hey Wahe, right? Yod Hey Wahe is the Most High's name, but exactly how to pronounce it, I've never got into. Oh, we're gonna debate about how to exactly pronounce it. Why? Because when they looked up archaeology, what they found was letters and words. Guess what they did not find? They did not find a ancient tape recorder hearing how our people pronounced all of these words. That's what they didn't find. Languages evolve. We're speaking English right now. This language evolved since we've been here. They use different words in English differently 400 years ago, 300 years ago than they use them today. They pronounce words differently than they use today. You think the same thing didn't happen in Hebrew. So um, that's just something that I wanted to kind of say and get into even before I read some of the stuff concerning Masoretes, whatever other history. So
Okay. Can you hear me, brother?
yeah, yep.
Okay, perfect, man. Thank you, brother. All right. Um, can you see my screen?
Give me a second.
Okay.
Yep, talking about that.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay. This here is all right. This is a Paleo Hebrew scripture. So we got the Old Testament here from Genesis all the way down to Malachi. And as we see here, let me zoom in. This is the Paleo Hebrew text. So as you see here, there's no vowel sounds that are written here, right? This is all Paleo Hebrew script. However, there are rules to the language, just like law, statutes, and commandments. In the scriptures, we have law, statutes, and commandments to the language itself. And when we understand those law, statutes, and commandments of the language, we can read the text properly and be able to distinguish past tense, future tense, present tense, masculine, feminine, singular, plural, a command tense, all types of things based on vowel patterns. So here, it starts out in Genesis. I could go anywhere, I will try to go anywhere and read it for you as it's supposed to be sounded using the grammar rules of Hebrew and the Paleo Hebrew text so that you can see the language, how the language was read using vowels. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so check this out. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. So you're saying that this you will read this the exact same way you will read it in modern Hebrew with the vowel points.
Right. And translate it. And translate
right. Okay.
it. Mm-hmm.
But you're also saying that the reason why you can do that is because there are different rules that you will know how to do that even without the vowel points written there. That's what you're saying.
Right. And the rules.
Okay. Well, what you're saying is something that I'm actually interested in because I haven't found where you can do that. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying based on the research that I've seen, I haven't seen where that is able to be done, right? Again, I'm not saying you can't. Maybe there are rules. It's different because some of the rules, I believe that only apply to modern Hebrew and not ancient Hebrew. You know what I mean? So, and I'll give you a chance to explain further, but just so you understand my position. And okay. I'm not saying this position is absolutely right when I say this part. I'm saying based on what I've known and what I've seen, some of these rules, well, I don't even say a lot of these rules that I've seen where they would apply to modern Hebrew, but I haven't seen where they apply to the ancient. You understand what I'm saying?
Can you give us an example of what you're talking about? A grammar rule that doesn't apply to the Paleo Hebrew that you see used Yeah, could you be specific about
Well,
that?
it's not always a grammar rule, right? But just rules in general, right?
Okay.
And I'll give you let me think. So this example, I will say um and again, they're not always grammar, but I'm trying to think of one that's grammar too. Let's see. Okay, I'll just say how it's written for number one, right? So you know that in certain modern Hebrew letters, uh, you have the letter itself, and then you have such as and then like the letter mem, for example, right?
Uh
You'll
huh.
have the letter mem, but then you'll have final mem, right? And I want to
Hmm.
explain things even further because I know that a lot of people that are listening don't really know the Hebrew like that. I know you actually know and read and grew up reading Hebrew, right? So
Hmm.
say the letter mem, that is the Hebrew letter that makes the M sound. In
Right.
ancient Hebrew, you write that letter the same way every time.
Right.
In
It's
modern,
like right here. That's the letter mem right here. That can you see the
mhm,
highlight?
yeah,
That's
right,
mem.
right, I
Hmm.
know. And in modern Hebrew, you write the letter mem a certain way, but whenever the letter mem is the last letter of a word, you write it totally different, right? And
Hmm.
so that's just one rule of many that can come to the top of my head that I can think of. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you do what you're about to do, read that. But what I do want to do is this: I want to verify some stuff with you because I know that you know you read the Hebrew.
Hmm.
I want to verify the things that I said, either verify or not. Let's kind of dialogue back and forth and see if we get an understanding of the things that I said concerning the Messiah's name. I'm not sure how long you was listening. If you was listening for that, if not, let's
I
talk about that next.
I didn't get all of that, but maybe that's a good place to start. Maybe we can go to where the Messiah's name was first given. That's number 16, right?
Um, I thought it was Exodus. Oh, you
Oh,
talking about the no? Well, I said Exodus only because I believe that Joshua the son of Nun had the exact same name. So I was just
right.
gonna use
That's in Numbers. I think that's Numbers 16. I
okay.
think
It's in
if I
Exodus too, Exodus 17. But yeah, you go to Numbers. I'm sure it's there too. Because I looked it up earlier and we read it earlier. It was in Exodus
okay.
17. I forget what verse.
Okay. Um.
Hold on, I can find it real quick though. But yeah,
Okay.
I would love for you know what I mean to be able to either verify or not. You know what I mean with you and see what you have to say about what I brought up in that.
Okay. All right. This is number 16. Um. Okay. This is verse 12. I'm going to start around here.
All right, give
Uh,
me 1 second.
okay.
So in English it has the hold on. Number 16 and 12.
Yeah, that's just where I'm going to start.
So what I'm looking for is um oh, you said this was gonna start. Can we just go right to the verse that because I'm looking for where it has Joshua's name in it? Only
Joshua's
for the
name.
sake yeah, yeah, only for the sake of time. You could do Exodus 17 and 9, because that's one that I brought up earlier, because I know that one has the name Joshua in it. Exodus 17 and 9. We're in Numbers. Numbers 11 and 28 has his name. Because we kind of already went through a certain spiel where we looked at according to the Blue Letter and the Strong's Concordance. His name comes from Hebrew word number 3091. I went to 3091. We seen how it was spelled with 5 Hebrew letters, Yod, Hey, Wash, and Ayin. We looked at those letters in modern Hebrew characters. We looked at those letters in ancient Hebrew characters and pretty much looked at the sounds that they make in the modern and ancient Hebrew. I do know based on the vowel points that are put there, the sounds can definitely change. So we just kind of went through that. If you were saying something, I can't hear you. It looked like your mouth was moving.
Hear me now, brother?
Yep, I hear you
Okay.
now.
The audio
And real
switched to
quick,
my phone. Okay, sorry, the audio.
everybody, let me know that
Uh,
y'all can see what he have on the screen,
okay,
just to make sure, because it looked like a sister was saying, "Can you specify to us, show us in the
right.
text so we can see?" I
I
thought I
wanted to
had
go.
everybody
I
can
wanted
see.
to go where you were saying. You said Exodus somewhere. Where was his name given? I'll go right there to where you had. So we're on the same
Ex-
page.
Exodus 17 and 9.
Exodus 17 and 9. Okay, thank you, brother. Okay, Exodus 17.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, brother. My bad. I didn't mean. Man, the screen be real small and I couldn't tell. So sorry about that, bro.
Okay,
I, I didn't mean to
Exodus.
say when you're a brother. No, I was talking to somebody in the chat. I accidentally called him sister when his brother. It did be a real small picture and I couldn't tell. So
Okay, this is Exodus 17, and we're going to go to verse 9. Okay, this is verse 9, and this is in Paleo Hebrew. Okay, all right. Wayomer Moshe al Yehoshua Bakar uh, Lano uh, An Anashim with Za Halekim Halekim or Halakam uh, by Amalek Makar uh, Anoki uh, Nitzab al Rosh Ha Gaboa, where Masa
hold
Ha
on real quick. That word you just said,
mm-hmm,
wouldn't that be where mata and not sa? That's a
Mata.
tet.
That's a tet. You're right. Mata. Mate, actually. That's mate. Mate is the word for staff. So that's a staff, mate. Thank you for that, brother. Uh ha ha Elohim Bayadka.
Okay,
So
cool. So
translate.
let's not confuse everybody because, like I said, brother, I know that you can read the Hebrew, whether ancient or modern. But to be honest, a lot of my listening audience, that's what I was going on in the beginning, they don't even recognize the letters, whether modern or ancient Hebrew, right? But can I just get your take on the name there? As we see, what was it, the one, two, three, four, about the fourth word that you highlighted right there?
That's your host.
Because according to my research, that is the name of our Messiah, that is the
Right.
name of Joshua, and how, because I see that you pronounced it different from me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, why did you pronounce it the way that you did? And do you believe that it is a different pronunciation for this name in ancient Hebrew versus modern, or you will pronounce it the exact same way? And if so, why?
Okay. To answer your question, let's put it in this perspective. Um, you learn Roman numerals in school.
I don't remember where learned them, but I know them. I
You
don't
know 'em,
never in
right?
school or my parents taught me or whatever, but I know them.
So let's say, for example, if I was to write the Roman numeral 7, how would I write that?
Let me think. You would do the V and the two ones or whatever, the two straight lines.
The two I's, right?
Right,
VII.
right.
So if I was to look at Roman numerals And if I was to look at the current numbers that we use now, do they add up? Do they add up to different values, or is it still the same number, just written different?
Oh, it should be the same number. You mean if you do no Roman numeral 7 and a
And the standard
Arabic number 7?
in the Arabic, it's still 7, right?
Okay, right.
It's still pronounced the same. It still adds the same. If I say 7 plus 7, that's still going to give me 14. Whether I write it in a Roman numeral sense or if I use the Arabic numeral sense. For those who don't know, the numerals that we use today, they're said to be of Arabic origin that we use in English. They're still added the same way, subtracted the same way, multiplied and divided the same way. It's just a different style of writing, but the number and the way we say it remains the same. That's the same thing when we're looking at this Paleo Hebrew here, and then we look at Biblical Hebrew. They're the same language, just like Roman numerals are the same numbers as the Arabic or standard numerals that we use today. It's just a different way of writing it. But when I read it, I'm still going to say 7. If I see that V and 2 I's, I'm still going to say 7. And so that's where I think the disconnect comes with people trying to understand Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew script, Biblical Hebrew script. It's the same language. The symbols are just different. But the Biblical Hebrew is an extension of these alphabet in the same way that the New Testament is an extension of the Old Testament.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay. So
now, can I add? Okay. So I understand what you're saying. And I believe that many people will be inclined to believe that and go that way. I've thought that at times myself, but then it's like the more that I kind of look at certain things, I start to see differences, right? So, like for example, I probably did this before you came on. All I did was a Google search, like for the people, right? So let's go back to the name you have highlighted. We have from right to left, Yod, Hey, and Wah, right? The third letter, I will pronounce it as a Y. And so what I did in the Google search, I'm not going to put it on the screen again because I did it earlier. I want to keep what you have up here, but you can just type because I just went to Google and I put it on the screen for everybody. I typed in what sound does the Hebrew letter Y make? Because we were doing it one by one, trying to just walk the people through how I believe the Messiah's name should be pronounced. And guess what it said in Google? It said that letter makes a V sound in Hebrew. And then it said, but in ancient Hebrew, it made a W sound. And then it went on to talk about how it can sometimes make an O sound or a U sound, which I'm sure you're familiar with, because if you add that dot, at the top of it to the left, whatever, it'll make a O sound. If you add the dot, I guess to the left of it, it'll make
highlight the letter so that people can see what letter you're talking about. We're talking about that letter right there.
Right. It looks like an English Y, pretty much. Yep. Yep. So that letter, and so I'm like, Google was saying that in ancient Hebrew it makes a W sound, but in modern Hebrew it could make a V sound, an O sound, or a U sound. And then I have like a because it's funny you went to the Crown Diamond. I was familiar with that because I know that there was a place that I've seen that they had like ancient Hebrew, they had the letters and the sounds they make and dictionary and stuff like that. And even in there, if we go back to that site, or if you get a book from them, which I have right in front of me, even in there, it'll tell me like that specific letter Y in the ancient Hebrew makes a W sound.
Right.
So like, I don't know, bro, because, and I'm about to turn it back over to you. Give me one more second.
Sure.
I don't know, because I do say this. I say that what I've always told people is like, them 4 letters, Yod Hey Wah Hey, is the Most High's name, undoubtedly. But exactly how we would pronounce it, I personally always said I would never debate it. That's just something, because they didn't leave us ancient tape recorders. They left us ancient artifacts and ancient letters, but not a tape recorder that we could dig up and push play and hear how they pronounced it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
I-
That's all. I just based on what I've seen, that letter made a W sound, and I have like a couple of witnesses. But go
right.
ahead.
It makes a W sound, and any other sound that makes it, well, the Europeans would make it a V. We're not dealing with what the Europeans do, and neither did my teachers, and neither do I here. Now, the way that we can determine what sound this letter wow makes, wow can make three sounds in the Hebrew language. It can make the sound of a W, it can make the sound of an O, it can make the sound of a U. All right. The way we determine the sound that is made is where that letter is placed within a word. The position that the letter wow takes within the word dictates very much which vowel is going to be used. Okay. Um, I'll give you an example that's similar that you can understand. Let's
Okay. Yeah, I would love to hear that rule and stuff. Now, this is something that
can I
you
can I
can
can I finish
convince.
answering? Which
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
But let me say this because I would like you to go there because I would definitely want to know about that. But go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, for sure. I'm going to give you an example that you can understand and the audience can understand very clearly in English. Okay, so um, if um, if I was to put the word yes, how is the letter Y pronounced?
Like yeah,
Good. If I was to put the word key, how is the word Y pronounced?
like a E.
Mm. If I was to say the word yes, you said the Y is pronounced like a Y, but if I was to say the word day, how is the Y pronounced?
It's either silent or it's pronounced like an A,
Mm.
or maybe
So
silent. I'm not sure.
depending on where that letter Y is placed within the word in English, that dictates the sound that it makes. If Y is at the beginning of a word, it almost always will sound yeah, almost every time. 90, probably 98% of the time, the letter Y is going to have a yes sound when in English when it's at the front of the word. But when Y is at the end of a word in English, when does it have the y sound? Let's look at words like gray, hay, day, sky, um, by. Um, you see the difference? So when Y is at the end of a word in English, it sounds completely different than how it does at the beginning of the word. That same principle is how we can determine the sound of certain letters in Hebrew.
So you're saying Hebrew is the same way, based
It's
on where the letter is
work and operate the
in the
same.
word, is pronounced differently. That's what
Mhm.
you're
So
saying.
right. So where certain letters are pronounced are placed within the word, that dictates the sound that it makes.
I
That's
hear you.
mhm.
I've heard that before from other
Okay.
people. I just haven't seen the evidence of it. Now you may
Okay.
have evidence, right? If you can show me the evidence, I'll definitely be with it. I just haven't
I'll
seen
show
it.
you the evidence right here in the same verse.
Okay.
Okay. This is the letter Y. This is the letter Y. When Y starts off a sentence, it almost will never have an O or U sound. At the beginning, when Y was at the beginning of a word, it pretty much 98% of the time is always going to mean the word and. And if it's and, like this says here, Yomer, this says, and he said. That why I know because this Y was at the beginning of the word, it's going to be what. Okay. But now that it's in the middle of the word here, I know it's not going to be what. I know it's going to be an O or an U sound just based off of that. If it's Y was at the beginning of a word, W sound, weh. If when Y was at the beginning of a word or the beginning of a syllable, weh. Any other case, if it's not at the beginning of the syllable, it's pretty much going to be O or U. So that's
How would you know? So I know how you would know if this was in modern Hebrew because you had the vowel points. But
mm-hmm,
if you're only reading it as you are here in ancient Hebrew, and you said in the middle of a word,
mm-hmm,
it'll be a O or U. How
right.
would you know which one, O or U?
You would know whether the verb is active or whether the verb is passive. If the verb is active, then I know it's an O sound. If the verb is passive, I know it's an U sound.
Explain that further to me. I don't get it. Explain.
Okay. This word right here is the Messiah's name, which is Yehoshua, which means Yehovah is salvation. Okay. I'm trying to think of a word. Let's see. Yehoshua. All right. This right here, these first three letters, this represents the name of the Father, Yehovah. So just by this being a theophoric name, meaning the name of Yah is in it, and it's at the beginning of the name, I know off of the top that this is going to be Yehovah. And I know that this comes from the root word Yasha, which means, which points to salvation or to a savior. So I wish I could write here so that I could show you what I'm talking about, but I'll explain it. All right. Savior. That is a person who is performing the act of saving someone. That's active. Salvation, which is someone receiving that help, receiving that deliverance, that is passive. That's not an action that someone is doing. That's an action that is impressed upon someone else. Just like if I was to say, I want to eat bread. That's active, me eating bread. But if the bread is already eaten, it's passive. It's eaten already.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Understand?
And so I think that I get it. I understand what you're saying, right? And this is one of those things that I mentioned earlier when I said that I know that there are a lot of rules. I don't know all the rules because I actually started years ago focusing a lot more on this Paleo Hebrew as opposed to modern. But I know that there are a lot of rules. And remember, I said um, I don't believe the same rules apply to ancient and modern. Um, I believe,
Can
and
you?
know what I'm saying. I'm saying I believe based on the things I've seen and read. I believe that rules like that definitely applies to modern Hebrew or biblical Hebrew, right? I'll never deny that. I'll never deny. I've even told people like, well, this name says Yehoshua for people that can read modern Hebrew, but I don't think it's pronounced that way for the ancient Hebrew because I just haven't seen that in the ancient Hebrew that they followed all those same rules. I just haven't seen that evidence. I know you're explaining the rules and things like that. I just want to see the connection to the ancient language as it is to the modern. You know what I mean? So what I personally believe, and I'll let you, dialogue with that. Things that I've read concerning how the Masoretes came and they added the vowel points, and then how I read about Eliezer ben Yehuda, which I'm sure you're familiar with some of the work he did on the biblical or modern Hebrew language. You're familiar with some of the work him and his son did, right?
I'm familiar with it.
Okay, okay.
We're
So
not
what I read is
we're
they've
not
made,
any of
they've
that,
made up
any of
like
those things. What
they
we're
made up
representing.
literally thousands of words, thousands of new Hebrew words that were never there. And how they did it was they literally would just change the vowel points around. It could be the same word and they changed the vowel points. Same word, change the vowel points. And I'm like, you wouldn't have been able to do this. And I'm gonna show you one example, then I'll pass it back to you, right? You wouldn't have been able to do this in ancient Hebrew, right? So for instance, walk with me through this. So if I say the first man name was Adam, right? Let's say Adam, right? How will we spell that in ancient Hebrew? I'm only gonna deal with ancient Hebrew right now, and I'll go to modern. We will spell that in ancient Hebrew with three letters: Aleph, Dalet, and Mem. Right? We on the same page?
Yeah.
Aleph, Dalet, and Mem will spell Adam, right? But then we have Jacob, and Jacob had a twin brother named Esau or Edom. But then how will we spell Edom in ancient Hebrew? It is, to be the same thing, right? Aleph, Dalet, and Mem.
Yeah.
We will spell Adam and Edom the exact same way. There is no difference in ancient Hebrew. It's the
Right.
same three letters. But in modern Hebrew, we're still using the same three letters, but they'll put a certain vowel points to let you know to pronounce the A sound for Adam, other vowel points to let you know to pronounce the E sound for Edom. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, um, do you understand the problem that I'm saying? Like, I'm literally, I just haven't been able to make the connection that it's the same rules for both languages, modern and ancient. That's what I'm saying.
Because it sounds like it sounds like if you're studying, who's your teacher?
I've never had a teacher with. So here's how it came for me, right? I was studying.
I think that's part of the problem. I think that
Well,
we
well, let me say this
have, hey,
real
brother.
quick. I'll let you answer. So I actually would have got a teacher for the modern Hebrew, um, but the reason I didn't is because years ago I kind of stopped studying it because once I started studying the ancient and I seen that, well, wait a minute, this is how it originally was. We learned these other characters in the once the Babylonian captivity. I kind of lost my zeal or passion for studying it. So I just kind of stopped studying. But I had no problem, you know what I mean? Like I like to learn all type of stuff. But at that time I just didn't have the zeal to keep studying it. So I just stopped where I was. But I was actually, if I would have found a teacher at that time, I would have definitely wanted to learn, you know what I mean, the Hebrew from them, stuff like that. So what
Mhm.
I'm telling you as far as the ancient, it's kind of the same thing. I've just been, studying and reading things over the years. So I never actually had a teacher with that ancient
Right.
Hebrew. I had one for only
Can,
a few months and
wait
I
a
got
minute, brother. Can I respond to somebody because you're saying a whole lot of points,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to
I got
address the points.
I got you, bro. Well, I had a Hebrew teacher for modern Hebrew, but I only studied with him for literally about 2 months.
Okay.
But
I,
go
I
ahead.
think I think one of the problems that we're having in Israel is that we need teachers, and when we have teachers, there's several teachers that I know of qualified to teach our people the language. But I think sometimes we are trying to learn things without teachers. Excuse me. Um, and when we see people who can demonstrate this knowledge, I think that Israelites should study to show themselves approved. The Most High said things in DC said, "Let everything be done in decency and in order." So if people are just studying and they don't know the basics of the language, they don't know the letters of the language, they don't know the grammar of the language, and then they just study and they're going to get confused after a certain point. This is why having teachers, qualified teachers, is important, and we should, have teachers who are vetted, not just people who say, "I know this," but they can't speak it or they can't read it and they can't translate it. So this is why I think that it's important to our teachers to be able to demonstrate these skills, and only then should we say, okay, this is a person qualified to teach, because without doing that, we're creating an environment for confusion, and Yah is not the author of confusion. And then as in the book of Numbers, he sets up captains of thousands, captains of hundreds, captains of fifties, captains of tens, but the captains have to be certified. They got to be verified. They have to be people that are known for leadership in whatever particular area. So, like, these things will help clarify. That's why I tried to take my time to really explain how letters are sounded based on where they're positioned within the word. There's certain nuances that you can see in English how it operates, just like the letter Y. Based on where it's positioned, the sound can change. The letter Q is the same thing. If I say Q, if I put Q at the beginning of a word, I could say quiet, right? But if I say Shaq, like Shaquille, and that Q is at the end of a word, it's not going to sound like Q and quiet. It's going to almost sound like a K based on where it's positioned. Hebrew,
So do you see any differences that you equate to ancient Hebrew that you don't equate to modern, or you use all the same rules, all the same grammar, all the same everything. You see them as the same. It's just different. The way the
I
letters are different.
I don't study modern Hebrew. I study Paleo Hebrew script, and I study modern Hebrew script. The language that I speak is all from the Tanakh. I don't use any words outside of that. So when I teach my students and teach my classes, all of the words that we're learning come straight from the scripture itself.
I got you, but it's still the same question. What I'm saying is, we're looking at a Paleo Hebrew script here,
Hmm.
and then we can put side by side and have a modern Hebrew script, right?
Oh
So
no,
what
I don't use
you
modern Hebrew script. I use biblical Hebrew script. Biblical Hebrew script was around before the time of the Messiah walking the earth. So that's not a modern at all. That's over 2,000 plus years. That's from the time of Ezra and from the time of Daniel, from the time of the Babylonian captivity.
right?
That script was
Yeah, I know.
being used. That's not
I
modern at all. So
yeah,
I
I know.
don't
I
I don't
went through that. So okay, well, I'll call it. What do you call it? Biblical Hebrew.
biblical Hebrew, right?
Okay, yeah, I went through that before you came on, so we can
Okay,
call it
yeah,
Biblical Hebrew,
biblical
right?
Hebrew. Yeah, that's what I use.
So, so what I'm saying is, okay, let's go through the history. We
Mm-hmm.
have this scripture up here in Paleo Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
We can put a biblical Hebrew script side by side to it of the same verse or
Mm-hmm.
verses. So you're saying, based on what you see and believe, all of the rules, rather whatever rules that applies to the modern Hebrew, you would also apply all of those rules to the ancient Hebrew. I mean, sorry, what all of the rules that you apply to the biblical Hebrew, you will also apply all of those same rules to the Paleo Hebrew, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the grammar rules of the Hebrew are found in the tabernacle itself. So this is something that I probably will have to share with the people.
Okay. No, no,
Science.
I wanted to get an understanding of that first,
Yeah,
to make
it's the
sure
same
that
thing.
you're applying
It's,
all the
it's,
same
it's,
rules.
it's the same thing. Just like we talked about earlier, if we have Roman numerals, math still works the same. If I want to do addition and I'm using Roman numerals, I don't change the rules of mathematics because I'm using Roman numerals instead of
I
the
get.
the current numeral system. So
I'm
the
going to take
rules of
this down for a
mathematics
second.
don't change. The rules of multiplication, addition, subtraction, and division, they don't change because I'm using Roman numerals or regular numerals. It's the same thing. And so, in that respect, it's the same when we are using Hebrew, whether it's the Paleo Hebrew script or the biblical Hebrew script. It's just a script, but the language is the same. The language doesn't change. Script doesn't change a language. It's
I
just a
understand.
different
Okay.
style of writing.
Let me say this. Let me put this up, and then I'm going to see if you'll have the same understanding of the history of the biblical Hebrew. Okay. So can you see that? This is one of the things that I just Googled earlier, but I'm going to put it back up. Um, so it says, hold on. Wait a minute. Give me 1 second. All right. So we're looking at that letter that we were talking about, right? That letter that's in the middle of the Messiah's name. It
Mm-hmm.
says Hebrew letter Y, shows a picture of it in modern Hebrew, also known as Vav, functions as both a consonant and a vowel, commonly making the V sound in modern Hebrew and the W sound in ancient Hebrew. So when I read that, it tells me that even though this is specifically talking about the sound the letter makes, it is
Mm-hmm.
saying in ancient Hebrew it makes the W sound, but it commonly makes the V sound in modern Hebrew. Now we know when it says in ancient Hebrew, it's talking about that script that we just had on the screen not too long ago. Um, and so what I'm saying is like Google itself is telling me like, well, and like I said, I have other references because I show in this book it said the W sound as well. Like I'm just kind of putting the information out to you to be like, okay, Google is saying this letter makes a W sound. This is saying it makes a W sound. But
Mm-hmm.
now you're saying that Yeah, it can make a W sound sometime, but the fact that it is in the middle of this word, then in the not it's not at the beginning of the word, but it's in the middle. And when it's in the middle of the word, it won't make a W sound. Most of the time, it's gonna make a O or a U sound, right?
Right.
And I get that. I get everything you're saying. I just would like to see, like, if we're dealing with biblical Hebrew, I'm gonna say yes because that's the rule for that. What I want to see, and maybe you don't have it with you right now. Maybe it's something you can give me later. What I want to see, just to be clear, is the connection of how this rule applied. And I'm gonna show you one of the reasons. I'm gonna try to find a scripture. One of the reasons why I think they do apply, but I want to see the connection of why this rule and other rules apply to the ancient Hebrew that Moses was writing in before any captivity, right? And so what we're calling, and I stated this earlier before you came on, what we're calling biblical Hebrew, wouldn't you admit that what you're calling biblical Hebrew is not a shot at you or anything? We're just going through history. But what you're calling biblical Hebrew, what I call biblical Hebrew, what the world calls biblical Hebrew, our ancestors literally learned those characters in captivity from the Babylonian captivity. Correct? That's where they learned how to write those letter characters when we went into Babylonian captivity.
They learned that in captivity, much the same way that the New Testament was written in captivity amongst Gentiles. So
I
if I was
mean,
to use that logic, I would say, well, I'm not going to read the book of Romans because they wrote it while they was in Rome. I'm not going to look at the book of Revelation because Revelation was written in Pathros while he was in prison in bondage. So if I was to use that logic, then I would cut myself. I would cut off a lot of the scripture that the Most High had written because it was written a lot of the scripture while we were in captivity. So with
yeah,
that,
I got you, bro. I'm not saying not to use it because of that. I'm just making sure we're on the same page because this is something that I stated earlier that these letter system, this block script system, our ancestors learned in captivity. That's all I'm saying. Like I get that with the Greek and the Aramaic because I use it. I still read the book of
to answer that, that's not true. I'll give you certain scriptures to prove it. That's not entirely accurate.
what's
Um,
that? That we learned these letters
in
during the
captivity.
Babylonian captivity.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Um, give me 1 second. If we could pull it up, Hezekiah the king. Okay. Second Kings 18, verse 26. If we can pull that up.
So somebody put in the chat Aramaic. Would you also call that Aramaic?
That's right, Aramaic. And
Okay.
our patriarch Abraham, before he became a Hebrew, before he was set apart, the Most High set him apart, he was Aramaic. Man, that's what Abraham knew first. So that's not accurate entirely to say that we only learned that. Our patriarch Abraham spoke that before he learned Hebrew, before he was
Okay.
given.
But we did learn it in captivity. You're saying not entirely.
We learned it. We learned it before Abraham knew it. So that's before Israel even became a nation. Our patriarchs knew it. And here we see in the same book of, like I said, we're in 2 Kings 18 and 26. We see the kings of Judah. This is Hezekiah and his men. It says plainly that they spoke Aramaic. And that's why they was in it. That's before the Babylonian captivity.
Oh, okay. Talking about this verse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about you talking about when it says Syrian language?
Yeah. Syrian, when you look at it in the language, in Hebrew, it says Aramaic. So Aramaic and Syrian is synonymous.
Okay.
It's called Aramite in Hebrew. So when you look at that verse in Hebrew, it says they were speaking Aramaic. So we knew that before the captivity. And Abraham spoke it before he received Hebrew from the Most High.
Okay, got you.
Mhm.
So, and yeah, I don't know if that's totally true or not. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I just don't know. I'm just listening to what you say. I always go back and do my own research. So I'm not saying
Yeah, it's
nothing.
right there in the text.
I just always do my own research.
Here's another scripture I have. I'll show you too. Let's get a scripture on that because we need to back these things up with the word. I got one more scripture to prove that.
A person in Isaiah, that was Isaiah 36 should have been after the Babylonian captivity. So I know I'm just addressing some things people saying in the chat as well. So, books like Ezra, Nehemiah, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Daniel, all of these books were written in that Aramaic language because they were primarily after the Babylonian captivity time.
Let's
Uh,
go to Deuteronomy 26 and 5.
Okay, give me 1 second. How our people wrote scriptures before that time? They wrote it in the Paleo Hebrew, which we have like the Torah. We have a lot of the book of Psalms and things like that. So, two different languages, two different time periods. So, just to be clear. So, of course, you can find other places where it was written. But go ahead. Where you going?
Okay, Deuteronomy 26, verse 5. This is Moses in Deuteronomy 26 and 5.
All right, give me a second.
Okay.
Deuteronomy 26 and 5.
Mm-hmm. And thou shalt speak and say before Jehovah thy Elohim, a Syrian ready to perish was my father, and he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few and became there a nation, great, mighty, and populous. So this is the Most High Yah and Moses writing about our ancestry. And it says our father was a Syrian, okay, which in Hebrew says Arami, which means our father Abraham was Aramaic. So he knew Aramaic before becoming Abraham the Hebrew. When the Most High made the covenant with Abraham and made a nation out of him, that's when he became known as the Hebrew. So before that, he was using Aramaic. So this is ancient. This goes back to the days of the patriarchs. So, that's why we can use this script and know that the Most High ordained it as part of our legacy and our lineage. And during the days of the Messiah, he was speaking Hebrew and Aramaic even then. And that's testified to in the scriptures itself. Some of the quotes he made were in Aramaic and some of the quotes he made was in Hebrew, proving that the Messiah used those languages. So if it was good enough for him, then it should be good enough for those who follow him. So
Do you believe the Messiah also spoke Greek during that time?
he may have, I don't know. I haven't seen him speaking any quotations in Greek, but I know that he does have some quotations that are Hebrew and in Aramaic.
So what I've seen is that during the time of the Messiah, around the 1st century, our people would use Hebrew when it comes to religious services in the synagogues and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
their daily life, their daily language on a daily basis, they use Aramaic.
So that means the Messiah used that language that is biblical Hebrew. That's we're saying the same
Yeah,
things.
no, yeah, for sure. I never doubted that. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of clarify. So yeah, for sure. A lot of this I went over before you came on. I was
Okay.
just saying where this language came to our people as a nation, right? As a nation, that's where it came from. I
Mm-hmm.
never said not to use it or anything like that. I know that like I said, the book of Daniel was written in that language. I'm not going to stop using the book of Daniel. Like, you know what I mean? So that's not my point that I was trying to make. I'm just distinguishing the facts of history and how it came about. That's all.
Right.
That's all. I know that Jeremiah.
It was around our patriarch Abraham and Sarah using it.
Got you. Okay, cool. So let's see. So I think this is where we at, right? Because we're gonna get ready to wrap up. I
Thank you,
usually try
brother.
to do an hour and a half or two, but I think we gotta end on this part, but we may come back and because I think we're almost saying the same thing until it comes to this letter Y. Meaning like this. Okay, we got the yo. I think we both gonna say that make the Y sound. We got the hey. I believe we both gonna say that make the H sound, right? Then we got the Y, the letter Y, the
Mm-hmm.
third letter. I think that's where the confusion come in, right? Where it's like you're saying one thing, I'm saying another thing. I hear what you're saying, I understand what you're saying. And if we were only reading modern Hebrew, I'm gonna say, yep, you're 100% correct. I just don't know if that those same rules always apply to the ancient Hebrew because I'm kind of seeing that they don't always apply based on my own research, right? And
Nobody,
again,
but you don't have a teacher to teach you these things.
well, I'm gonna say this, and again, I could be wrong about the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't seen convincing evidence. Now, I'm always open to convincing evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you probably got some more stuff. If you hit me up and you show me some stuff, then I'll be like, all right, cool, I see it.
Y'all,
I
most high willing, this Wednesday, I'll probably be on Deacon Hakaz's channel, the Genesis camp, and if it be the Most High's will, I'll try to show some more evidence to show where the grammar rules come from. That it comes from the sanctuary itself. So maybe I'll do that so that
got you.
our people understand. And I
That'll be good. That'll be good.
thank you for having me on the show, and
Yeah, for
Most
sure.
High bless you. And may He help us all grow in the language. We all need to grow in the language, and our
Dang.
people need to know the true names of the Father and the Son, and even our own names. This is part of our heritage, and it goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and even before that. So thank you for having me, and I appreciate you, brother. Most High bless you and your
No problem,
channel
bro.
and your platform.
Yep, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. What time will you be on there on Wednesday?
I think 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
if I don't, I might not check it out live. I might check it out later. We usually have
okay,
scripture study about that time, so I can always go back and check it out. Yep.
okay. Nice
All
to
right, bro.
meet
Shalom, shalom.
you. Shalom.
Shalom. All right, family. We don't get ready to wrap it up, but again, y'all thanks for listening in. And again, when it comes to a lot of those rules, just so everybody understands, I know that there are a lot of rules when it comes to the ancient Hebrew language. Actually, I might as well just read this now because I had this stuff set up to kind of read. Then when the brother wanted to come on, I kind of dealt with some things with him. But here, I'm gonna share my screen with maybe one or two more things, just so y'all can see what I'm getting at. So check this out. All right. So the first thing I already showed to where Google was talking about in modern Hebrew, this letter makes one sound, but in ancient Hebrew, it makes a different sound. Well, my ancient Hebrew dictionary says the same thing about that letter. It says the letter Y makes a W sound in ancient Hebrew, but it makes I think in this book it says a O sound in modern Hebrew. Like it's telling me there's a difference. There's two witnesses. I have Google and I have this, right? But here's one thing that I wanted to share. I'm gonna try to get right to the point so I don't be reading all this trying to find exactly. So I'm gonna scan through this and see where I want to read at. But let me see. All right, let's see. All right, check my screen out. This is some of the stuff. So it says Hebrew. Eliezer ben Yehuda and the revival of Hebrew. So this man is his son, but this man named Eliezer ben Yehuda, he is Hebrew language today. That's what we have today. This man is responsible for that. Whenever you type in his name, and you can continue to read history about him and what he's done and what he did through, and see if I can find key points, because I don't want to read all of this. It's getting late, but anybody can look it up and research it and research the things that he's done. The things that I've already read that I know off the top of my head from already reading about him and the things he's done, I know that him and his son created thousands that people are using today. He created thousands of Hebrew words. It can be the same word, but you put the A vowel point, then you take it off, then you put the E vowel point, but it's the same word, it's the same letters. All right, let me see. Just show y'all a little bit of what we could read about this man. Like I said, I'm just trying to scan through because I don't want to read all of this. Let's see if I can just quickly find some of the points in here. I should have had them like already highlighted or whatever exactly, but I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna just start here. Where my cursor is, y'all can see it says, according to Ben Yehuda, this was a very important symbolic event of the future of the revival, because with a child in his house, parents, visitors would have to speak naturally to him and to converse on the most everyday topics, all in Hebrew. So what he did, he revived this Hebrew language. He decided, how words would be spoken. He made up new words and everything. And in his house, he only would have people speak that language in his house, so his child would grow up only speaking and knowing this language. It says, when the child would finally begin to speak on his own, Ben Yehuda would have living proof that a complete revival of the language was indeed possible. As Ben Yehuda wrote in his introduction to his dictionary, if a language which has stopped being spoken, with nothing remaining of it save the remains of our language, if there is such a language, can return and be spoken and be the spoken tongue of an individual for all necessities of his life, there is no room for doubt that it can become the spoken language of the community. So that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make that the spoken language of the people, the Jewish people living in the land of Israel. And he indeed accomplished his goal, because that's pretty much what they're doing today. And says, and this is indeed what happened. Ithamar ben Ava and his autobiography describes Albert somewhat over romanticized some of the drastic precautions taken by Ben Yehuda to ensure his son would hear and thus ultimately speak only Hebrew. Thus, for example, when visitors came to the house, so kind of going over all that, but I'm trying to find other places where it's like how he and you can find it. Just read this stuff for yourself. If different things all over the internet about him, just remember that name, Eliezer ben Yehuda. It'll tell you exactly the things he done. He created, I think it says 6,000 Hebrew words and things like that. Now, some of the words were okay, because meaning to live in a modern world, you had to create other words like Well, we need a word for computer. Ancient Hebrew didn't have a word for computer because there was no computers then. Those type of things I have no problem with. That just makes common sense. But it was deeper than that, and it's more than that. And you can see remnants of it in the Strong's Concordance itself. Concordance itself. I'm not going to go into that today. But it says in this paragraph, it says it was clear to Ben Yehuda herein lay the very future of the revival. If children could learn Hebrew from a young enough age in school, they could become virtually um, unlingual, whatever that word in Hebrew. And when they grow up, in his words, the Hebrew language will go from the synagogue to the house of study, and from the house to the study of school, and from the school it will become into home and be a living language. So again, that was his goal, and he actually accomplished his goal. Um, but again, I'm scanning through here, and there are other things when you want to read about this stuff at your leisure that he's added to many words, and to show how he made the word, to tell you some words he made, how he made them, and different things like that. Um, I believe it says, if I'm not mistaken, maybe not in this particular article, but something that I read in the past, he took, words from the German language and mixed them. That's why you have certain sounds in there. He took words kind of inspired from other languages as well. And this is some of the things that, that I'll be saying. But I'll probably do a part two of this, and then really just kind of go into the history of him and show those things where I already have it highlighted, like the different things that I want to see, so the people can see. But anybody can do their own research themselves. You keep reading enough, you're gonna come across what I'm talking about concerning him. So maybe I'll do a part two, and basically, because we went into the Hebrew and basically just go into these things. So again, that's why people that know, I've always said, like, the modern Hebrew is one thing. If you can read modern Hebrew, that name say Yehoshua. But if you can read ancient Hebrew, it say Yahweh. I think Google is backing me up on that. My ancient Hebrew dictionary is backing me up on that. I would just need to see, why are we applying the rules of modern Hebrew to ancient Hebrew, and do they apply, and where's the evidence that they do apply to ancient Hebrew, right? Um, I personally have just not seen the evidence, right? I think if one learns modern Hebrew and that's all they learned, and some people went to school to learn it, all type of stuff. You could take classes online, you could do all type of stuff to learn modern Hebrew. They're going to teach you a lot of things, a lot of rules that go along with it, from grammar rules to all type of stuff. They're going to teach you about, like I said earlier, certain letters have two forms in modern Hebrew. They're going to have a form to where you write it like this, but whenever that letter is the last letter of a word, then you write the letter totally different. Well, Paleo Hebrew or ancient Hebrew doesn't have that. They don't have a final form of the letters. You know what I mean? That's just one example that we don't have in ancient Hebrew. So just kind of like that. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's getting late, y'all. So again, I thank y'all for joining me, for tuning in, and we'll definitely continue to go over this. But yeah, I think I will do a part two, and I think in part two, I'm gonna definitely focus on some of the history of this stuff and just show these different things. I'll probably go there and maybe do a little couple of things that I neglected to do on this live. But everybody, peace and blessings. Thanks for joining in. Talk to y'all soon. Shalom, shalom, family.